All right, guys. Thank you for showing up and checking out this video. And this is going to be my Q2 2018 video. Um, would have done a Q1, but I am relatively new to YouTube, so we're starting with Q2. So, all right. So let's see. April through June, we made a gross sales of 8,407 with 7 cents, compared to January or Q1 rather, January through March, a 24.8% increase, so not too bad. Um, really made a push to get more listings up, and I'd say within the last month, I think I've kind of tuned my strategy a little bit more to what I want to do. Um, so for the most part, Q1 I kind of had, I guess, new shoes, and I was selling a bunch of stuff from the bins that I found. A little bit of Q2 as well. Did I say Q2? Q1, and then Q2 as well. Towards the end of this month, I realized that, with a full-time job, trying to scale FBA, it's kind of a grind, and I got to the point where I realized, I do want to put in the work, but I also want to enjoy life. I like going to skate. I like going to check out things here in Austin, and in order to do that, I need to be a little bit more proficient in the way I'm reselling. So I decided, probably within the last 2 weeks, I wrote down in my business journal, um, I'm going to double down on new shoes, kind of stop selling used shoes or pre-owned, as well as other pre-owned goods from the thrift store, and probably utilize the thrift store for FBA. So we'll see what Q3 brings up. But what I would like to do is implement a thing called the after action review. If any of y'all were prior service like me, you're very familiar with this. It's when you review something that you've done, like an exercise or Q2 for example. And we're going to go ahead. I'm reading off my phone, so breaking it down into 3 questions: what was supposed to happen, what actually happened, and why were there differences. But I guess before I get into that, um, I've wrote down some goals on what I wanted to do for eBay, and I want to do at least 9 grand in sales monthly. So before we answer those questions that I just you know announced out loud, that's going to be in the back of my mind. So what was supposed to happen? Well, for Q2, of course, an increase in sales. I wanted to make 9 grand a month. Even though that's a relatively new goal, we'll go ahead and apply to this. And I fell short big time. So what actually happened? Uh, of course, right there, 8,407.07, which is not a bad thing. I mean, I am making some progress, which is, it's vital and important, always having growth. But that's what actually happened. And why were there differences? I believe the main thing was I didn't have a set strategy, right? Kind of was all over the place, thrifting at the bins, um, going to Marshalls, going to different stores, and just really not focused. So for Q3, as I mentioned earlier, we're gonna do double down on new shoes, and we'll see what happens. Now there is some additional questions here that I guess I can go ahead and read out loud. What worked? For the most part, a lot of my sales seem to be new shoes, and that's kind of why I caught that idea that maybe I should just double down on new shoes. What didn't? I would say shirts. I was thrifting T-shirts, like Harley Davidson T-shirts, Rock Band T-shirts, and some button-downs, and like Western Pearl Snap shirts. Um, they did sell eventually, but not for the price that I wanted to get, and at the average selling price as well. Everything was below $20 versus the new shoes, where everything's usually about $50. And as you can see here, these are more of my top sales. That's why the number's a little bit larger. Um, and then why believe maybe that there is either a I don't know, maybe the market's oversaturated on those pre-owned goods that I'm sourcing, and that could be it. And then this last question here, what would you do differently next time? So we in a, I'm sorry, I'm stuttering a little bit. I haven't had my coffee, so I'm mentally drained. So what what would you do differently next time? Well, uh, as we mentioned earlier, would double down on new shoes. Stop with the pre-owned. Not that pre-owned shoes is a bad thing, but the thing I ended up running into was my death pile was getting really big because with new shoes, it's really easy to pick up. They're clean, so I just take photos and stack them. New shoes, I have to clean them, polish them, look for defects, and then put them in pre-box them. That's the way I do it. I pre-box them and then stack them. So it just took too much time, and then the clothes as well. I know the camera probably can't catch it, but to the left of me, there's a little death pile of clothes still that I got to run through. But I believe, yeah, I believe that that's probably what I need to do in order to improve my store. Um, and then, like I said, there's no right or wrong way to this exercise, but for me, is and what works for me, it's just new stuff. Um, Now that may change Q3, we'll see. But as of now, that's going to be the strategy going into it. Just doubling down on new shoes and going from there, and just kind of streamlining the process because I would much rather pick up one thing and then just rinse and repeat all the time as opposed to just going around looking for different stuff and then trying to do FBA as well. So, but yeah, guys, I hope that helped you out. I'll go ahead and repeat those questions and I'll leave them in the comments if you want to, run this exercise with your own store. Um, okay, so the first three: what was supposed to happen, what actually happened, why were there differences? The second set of questions: what worked, what didn't, and why? And lastly, what would you do differently next time? Okay, so I hope that helped out somebody out there. If it did, give it a thumbs up and go ahead and wrap up this video. And we'll see what happens with Q3. Until next time, thanks for watching.